Welcome back, ladies and gents, as we are at match point for our best of three game for the Garena Pro Gaming Series Promotionals and Relegations between INFZ Esports and Big4. Once again, we are going to be your casters for this game today. This is Coach Arctic at your service, and with me is the amazing Iconic. And wow, that was quite the comeback that we had earlier actually for Game 2. Infuse finally flexing some muscles, showing us why they are one of the Pro Gaming Series teams. But then again, they are still going to have to defend for one last game here against Big4. And let's go ahead straight into the action right here for the bans that we have on the board. Iconic, what can you say about this so far?
We still see the Poppy, we still see the Rise. I think we're gonna see the same bans throughout the board.
Yeah.
With possibly a Cassiopeia. Yeah, exactly. Cassiopeia ban coming out from Big4. They do not want to deal with Hechizo's Cassiopeia, but the scary thing right now is they open up Hechizo's Aurelion Soul.
Yes.
Of course, the Karma will be first picked by Big4. It has caused them so much problems in the past two games, but we might see Hechizo actually picking Aurelion Soul. Satoshi, we don't know if he knows how to play against an Aurelion Soul, especially with how much success Hechizo has had on the Aurelion Soul. They actually might be baiting the Aurelion Soul pick right now.
Potentially.
Big4 could possibly, because they know that Hechizo is a good Aurelion Soul. Maybe they have something prepared to counter this Aurelion Soul. So I think it would be wise if Infuse don't actually pick up the Aurelion Soul in the first rotation, because that is 4 available picks for Big4 to counter out that Aurelion Soul. So again, we might see another contention for the Trundle, because Trundle has been super strong in this series. And as we see, these are somewhat the same picks coming out from both teams. We have the Rek'Sai, we have the Trundle. These are the picks that have worked for the teams throughout this series, but we don't know what the mid laner of Big4 is going to play again, because if he picks up that Ahri again, Ahri does not fare so well against an Aurelion Soul because of her lack of consistent wave clear. So if Hechizo picks up that Aurelion Soul, what is Satoshi going to bring to the table? That is the big question right now. And Infuse have the last pick for this draft, so they can last pick this Aurelion Soul if the enemy composition does not directly counter the Aurelion Soul.
Yes, indeed. And here we go. We have the Ash being hovered over by Big4 right here. We have seen again, not as strong as before due to the nerfs and the masteries, but still fairly has her merits because of the enchanted crystal arrow right there. And oh, there we go. We have an unlock on the Fiora right away for Gabay ng Diyos. So Gabay ng Diyos is going to be going a little bit more for the carry role for this game right here.
That's very risky, going for a Fiora in this current meta, where Fervor of Battle doesn't actually benefit the Fiora as much as before, because the window for having the Fervor stacks is just 3 seconds now, and aside from that, it takes 10 stacks to fully utilize your Fervor of Battle, and these kinds of trades are not what you get against the Trundle, who will just chomp you down and then back off from the trade. So I don't know how it will go, because it's very skill dependent, because it is a Fiora. But if the Fiora gets ahead of the Trundle will just get destroyed by the Fiora. But if the Fiora gets solo killed even just once, or even ganked by ZXC just once, it's going to put her behind for the entire game and could make Big4 lose out on this series. But we see JRM on his very famous, and by famous I mean infamous, Lucian.
So there we go. This is going to be very interesting, because this is going to be the ultimate test for Infuse JRM right here. Whether or not throughout the past few months that they've had to practice, will we be finally seeing the discipline and basically both the discipline and the instinct to when to go aggressive, when to go back on the solution. This is going to be the ultimate test, because as we've said, Infuse has had problems with JRM before, going a little bit too aggressive with the solution. So hopefully, maybe with the months that they've had, JRM might have finally tamed himself when going with these AD carry picks, such as the Lucian right there.
This is very interesting. This is the first time we're actually going to see a Nunu post Bond of Stone. Because one of the reasons why Nunu was super strong, there we see the Aurelion Soul. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but Nunu isn't as strong as he was back then because there is no Strength of the Ages, not Bond of Stone. I'm sorry, but with Strength of the Ages, Nunu tanks up really quick in terms of how fast he clears the minion waves as well, the jungle camps as well. So without that, we might see a very interesting keystone mastery choice for the Nunu. It's the most optimal keystone for Nunu right now is actually Bond of Stone. That's why I mentioned it earlier. But we see Hechizo on his very strong Aurelion Soul. He has been destroying a lot of solo queue games with this Aurelion Soul. He actually practiced it on his main account, so people in solo queue are familiar with Hechizo bringing it to the table. So far, what are your thoughts on these compositions? We have Hechizo right there posing for a photo.
That completely threw me off right there. But yeah, so far, Big Four, I feel like since this is make or break, they're going for potentially more, especially for Gabay ng Diyos. As we said, this is kind of a very risky Fiora, especially with, sure, Quicksilver Sash doesn't work on the ult anymore, but then again, you have to take note of those masteries. You have to take that into account. But then again, perhaps this is more of a comfort pit that we're seeing for Gabay ng Diyos. Possibly Big Four wanting to pull off the stops, wanting to go for what they feel would propel them into the Garena Pro Gaming Series. But then again, we have the same for Infuse. Again, that is Hechizo, one of the more signature picks that he has established ever since he swapped places with ZXC from going to jungler to mid lane. So this could either pretty much go both ways for Big Four or Infused.
Really looking forward to Hechizo's Aurelion Soul. I have had the experience of fighting against it and teaming up against it in solo queue, and I know how helpless it feels when when the enemy Aurelion Soul just ganks your side lanes non-stop and he ends up being 5-0 while everyone else is dead on your team. So Hechizo is one really good Aurelion Soul. You don't actually see that many Aurelion Souls in the Philippines, so that's also one of the reasons why he could be one of the best Aurelion Souls in the Philippines.
Potentially.
But potentially one of the best Aurelion Souls in the Philippines. But then again, we have the Ahri pick. Again, Ahri not so strong in the meta, but still people seem to prioritize the Ahri over the Syndra. It has been a trend we've seen so far this series and yesterday, both series of yesterday. I wonder why people don't want to pick up this Syndra.
Exactly, as you've been saying, I'm pretty sure you've said it a lot during the previous stream, and even I'm quite baffled. Syndra, one of the strong, if not the strongest picks for this mid lane here, but still none of these teams really going for it. Potentially, maybe because of the risk of the squishiness, maybe, but then again, I feel like the damage, just the pure damage that Syndra deals pretty much makes up for that. And when played correctly, Syndra, especially, you'd kind of expect pro players to pick this up because they kind of are the people that could play Syndra correctly as opposed to just a random amateur team that picks it up. So I'm kind of surprised, but then again, maybe it's just more of these teams going for what they're comfortable with as opposed to what power picks this meta has. And then again, because there is a risk if you kind of force yourself into picking what's strong, but without the sufficient practice on the champion, could be a risk. But then again, we'll see. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be Game 3 for the Garena Pro Gaming Series. We are at match point for Infused Esports and Big Four. Whoever wins this match will be entering the Garena Pro Gaming Series and will be joining Jengski Esports, Adobo Republic, and all the other teams that have gotten the safe pass to the Garena Pro Gaming Series. So this is going to be very interesting to see which team will be joining our 6 teams who are currently secured to join the Spring 2017 split, which is actually just around the corner.
Exactly, a few months from now. But this Ahri pick, like, I really don't want to stop talking about this Ahri pick because there are so many other mid laners that could do well against an Aurelion Soul. Yesterday, I was talking about how Ahri is actually Ignite dependent because she doesn't have as much damage as Syndra, as Orianna. So her mobility pre-6 is actually a super big issue, especially with how the junglers have been camping the mid lane. And aside from that, Syndra, Orianna both have better wave clear to counter this Aurelion Soul than the Orb of Deception coming out from an Ahri. So they knew that this Aurelion Soul was an option for Infused, but they still went for comfort pick. So it kind of worked out for them in game 1, but will it work out for them now?
Yes, indeed, and we'll just have to see if they'll work for a Big Four, if Infuse will ultimately be able to defend their title as we go into the game just a little bit. Of course, later during the day, after the series, we don't want to just exit your browsers just yet because we still have TIP Vindicators Esports Club, our League of Legends Collegiate League champions, will go up against Cerberus Esports just later on during the day, of course. So very intense matches that we have today. You know, this will be the determining factor. We will be determining finally who our 8 teams will be going into the Garena Pro Gaming Series Spring 2017 season. So pretty interesting. Very
Exactly.
interesting.
How do you feel so far as the coach for Vindicator Esports?
Well, I'm still kind of hungover over the fact that La Liga kind of just didn't make it yesterday. But to be honest, it's definitely, as a coach, you know, there is nothing that you can do but to be positive. Just work to your strengths. But I will be the first to admit that with the roster that Cerberus Esports has right now, especially with the performance that they've had off-season with the roster changes with Suzaku right now, putting Trebor in the mid lane, getting one of the previous IPT players in the jungle, I'd say Cerberus for me is probably one of the top teams, if not the top right now. I feel like the members that they have just ultimately complement each other. And so far what I've seen, especially Marky, he's been absolutely shining on the AD carry, and I'm absolutely a fan of Cerberus. It's just unfortunate that the team that I'm handling right now has to go up against them, but then again, it'll be a learning experience for them either way.
Exactly. So will we be seeing the Vindicator Esports in next split of LCL?
We'll just have to find out because like the roster, some of them are graduating, some of them have switched schools already. But hold that thought right there. We are going to be going into our match point game, Game 3 between Big Four, our team that'll want to get into the Garena Pro Gaming Series versus Infuse Esports, our defending PGS team right now. Of course, Iconic, take it away for the blue side.
So for Big Four, we have Gabay ng Diyos on the top lane Fiora. We have How to Burst on the jungle Nunu. We have Satoshi on the mid lane Ari. We have Timelapse on the AD carry Ash. And we have I Shall Return on the support Karma.
Very MacArthur is I shall return. But anyways, for the red side, the rundown for my brothers Infuse Esports. In the top lane, we have Gertrude on the Trundle. In the jungle, we have ZXE on the Rek'Sai. In the mid lane, we have Hechizo on his signature Aurelion Soul. And to sum up our bot lane right here, ladies and gents, it's JRM on the AD carry on the Lucian. And to sum up, that is going to be a kill on the Nami for Les Support.
So right now, you don't see the usual start from Aurelion Soul stealing the Raptors. You would usually see the Aurelion Soul slowly maneuvering towards your enemy Raptors. The Raptors are actually pretty vulnerable right now because they only start with 200 HP, so it would be super easy for an Aurelion Soul to actually get these small Raptors, but the amount of EXP you get is not equal to the previous Raptor camp that we had which had 4 Raptors. So that cheese strategy isn't as efficient as it was before.
Oh, but here we go. Hechizo flexing some muscles again. This is what we've kind of been expecting from the Aurelion Soul, and Satoshi taking a lot of damage as a result. Look at the damage being taken just so early on.
That is the aggression that an Aurelion Soul can put out onto the enemy. As you can see, the Aurelion Soul already roaming puts the ward onto the red buff. He knows where the Nunu is right now. He knows that the Nunu is on the left side because the Fiora actually gave the leash to the Nunu at the blue buff. So they now have a general idea of where this Nunu is. But we can see the level 3 cheese coming out from ZXC going to the red buff and to the Krog. We might see the same thing that happened during that Nocturne game where the Nocturne instantly ganked Gertrude after hitting level 3. We can see that ZXC is somewhat slowly maneuvering towards this top lane.
So there we go. Oh, we have a little bit of a gank onto Gabay ng Diyos right here. ZXC and Gertrude really wanting, but will content themselves with being half health onto Gabay ng Diyos right there.
Exactly. That kind of pressure is super big, especially for...
Whoa, JRM though, a little bit of an aggression right there, and that'll be a flash burn for him. But still, both summoners down for a time lapse, so I'd say that's fairly worth, I'd say.
Exactly. This is what JRM also did the early game of the second game. He was able to burn time lapses summoners really early, but we might see a dragon started. No, we have him slowly moving towards the bot lane right now. So we might see a gank onto the flashless JRM. They are both bleeding red right now. JRM uses the heal, but no, nothing happens. Yes, this is some next level shoutcasting with the minimap. All based on the minimap right there.
There we go, Gertrude trying to prevent Gabainang just trying to zone him out a little bit, try to prevent any CS because you know that is going to be a scary PR if you allow it to snowball. So Gertrude, I'd say, fairly doing a decent job at keeping Gabainang just at bay.
This is the exact same thing that happened during that Nocturne game. The Gertrude actually shoved up a little bit forward and then got punished by the level 3 gank.
Oh, that was very scary for Satoshi right there. And could have been potentially a first blood just purely because that Hechizo had the mana to kind of go all into Satoshi. But then again, Satoshi does still have his snag, but hold that thought right there. They are going full aggressive, and that is going to be first blood for I Shall Return. Getting the kill onto Infuse, a kill right there. Very well played.
A kill not respecting the amount of damage a level 3 Ignite can deal onto you, especially because even though you have the exhaust, it won't matter as much because you can't mitigate the amount of damage that will be dealt to you.
So there we go. Bot lane, I'm actually surprised that we saw that again. I was kind of expecting, just purely because JRM on that illusion is an absolute beast, that we would kind of see probably the first blood or at least a kill from them. But then again, BG4 just continues to surprise me with the way that they play this game.
Exactly, but we might see something from Hechizo. He already backed and got his Boots of Swiftness, so he is gonna push this lane in and will look for the gank after shortly. He already is level 5. He might actually even opt to rush the level 6 so that he can get the Voice of Light and gank the bot lane because they don't have any summoners. Both side lanes are actually very viable options right now for Hechizo because of the lack of summoners. We have JRM going in onto time-lapse, almost got the kill actually had he landed the Light Slinger onto time-lapse.
Yes, indeed. And that's actually a good point that you brought there about Hechizo, because from what I'm saying, Infuse, the composition itself is pretty decent, but what will really set Infuse to have that ticket straight into the Garena Pro Gaming Series if we do see that signature Hechizo Aurelion Soul plays that for those of you that have followed him and played against him in Pro Gaming, hold that thought right there. JRM in a very sticky situation right here will go down to How to Burst, and they are not done yet. A kill trying to get the kill onto Time-Lapse, but then again will be going down to Time-Lapse unfortunately. That is a 2-for-0 in favor of BG4.
They had no vision control of the Tri-Brush, so that was a really basic gank coming out from a Nunu. Nunu doesn't actually have any hard CC, neither does the Karma if she doesn't land the tether. But it was because JRM and a kill were pushing into the bot lane turret of the big four bot lane that they got punished for it.
So there we go. I feel like at this point, as we've been saying, one of the key changes, one of the things that Infuse can really capitalize on is the fact that Hechizo is proficient on this Aurelion Soul, and potentially, you know, not that many people, just because purely off Aurelion Soul isn't necessarily one of the most picked champions, you know, Hechizo could potentially take advantage of BG4 with the unfamiliarity. But then again, so far from what we're seeing here, BG4 just capitalizing humongously on the bot lane advantage that they have, and I feel like Hechizo should kind of start taking proactive moves as to counterbalance that.
Exactly. We haven't seen any of the ganks that from Hechizo. You want this Aurelion Soul to start ganking, but if this Ari keeps wave clearing faster than you can, you have no opportunity to actually roam because you will lose a lot of chip damage on your turret.
So there we go. This is a very worrying trend again for Infuse, but we shall see. You know, maybe later on we will see the roam potential that Hechizo has and potentially make the plays that we've kind of been expecting from this Aurelion Soul. But then again, if this trend kind of prolongs wherein we haven't seen that yet, then I'm kind of worried for Infuse, purely based off the fact that they're not taking advantage of the huge roam potential that they have, not just from the Aurelion Soul, but even from DNC. But we'll see if that will translate into a pick-off right now as they go in aggressive onto Gabainang Just, but unfortunately we'll be backing off of that with a response from How to Burst. But then again, Absolute Zero being popped here. How to Burst a little bit low on health. Will Gertrude be able to get the kill though? Gabainang Just dealing tons of damage. That is the ult being popped out. Grand Challenge, and oh my goodness, How to Burst will be indeed going down to Gertrude rather, but Gabainang Just will be able to get the kill onto ZXC, so that is a 1-for-1 so far. Will they be able to get the kill onto Gabainang Just? But here we have Satoshi able to respond. Hechizo a little bit low on mana. Gertrude maybe going down, and that is going to be a kill onto Satoshi.
Wow,
okay.
Hechizo just face checked that and cost him the lives of his teammates. he shouldn't have face tricked that at all because the Ari has been missing ever since he roamed from the mid lane.
Exactly.
The Ari, what the Ari did was he just shoved the lane in and actually went to respond to the gank that the roam that Hechizo did. And now you can see Timelapse slowly chipping away at that bot lane tier 1 turret.
And this is very worrisome indeed.
Lucian really behind right now in terms of CS. As you can see, there's just face checks into it, gets the Voice of Light, but doesn't have any of the any damage for it. Then the beautiful repose coming out from the Fiora landing the stun onto Akil, and they secure the kill right there. So JRM just lost his turret. This is a very big gold lead right now for Big 4 because they were able to they have a 5-kill lead and they also have the first turret of the game.
Exactly, and I feel like that what happened in the top lane earlier could have been a win for Infuse, but I feel like Infuse just a little bit careless with the tack that they had right there, and as a result, Satoshi was just able to capitalize on that beautifully, getting the double kill, and that's necessarily not what you'd would have expected from Infuse, because technically they do have much more advantage as far as the pressure, purely based off the roam potential that Hechizo and ZXC has. But so far, we haven't seen that translate to any form of advantage on the side of Infuse right here. And if this keeps up, this might be another worrying trend for Infuse, as we did see in Game 1.
Exactly, and both teams actually scaled pretty well into the late game. Trundle super scary in the late game, but Fiora with the percentage HP can deal with the Trundle. Nunu super tanky as well in the late game, will perma-slow you the entire game, so JRM will have a really hard time maneuvering the fight. And also I realized that Nunu is actually super good against Hechizo because Aurelion Soul, when under even soft CC, has a hard time maneuvering those orbs to deal damage.
So this could have potentially been, again, the mind game that Big 4 was playing and potentially anticipating the Aurelion Soul with this Nunu pick. Not even just the Nunu pick, just for the Aurelion Soul, but generally, I feel like the Nunu is an excellent pick with this composition, especially if you're going to look at the Trundle, the Rex side. Technically, even Hechizo has to have some form of in-distance going into these clashes right there. So, plus the fact that JRM, again, is one of those ham people that goes in, if he doesn't manage to control himself, those urges to just go full-on aggressive, then I'm kind of worried.
Exactly, and especially with the Blood Boil working super well with the Fiora top laner and also the Ashe AD carry. The bonus attack speed and movement speed can help them maneuver these fights, making it harder for Hechizo to land the spheres onto the stars onto the carries of Big 4. And aside from that, note that they only have two range carries. The Gertrude is going to have a really hard time reaching the backline of Big 4, especially when they have Blood Boil on top of them.
Plus, I just noticed, like, we're currently at almost a 4,000 gold. Well, somewhere between a 3,000 and 4,000 gold lead, which is kind of small, but then again, you have to note we are just nearing 12 minutes into the game, and if it's just 12 minutes and you have that large of a gold deficit, that's kind of worrying in itself, because Big 4 could just kind of skyrocket if they keep up this momentum that they have, especially as Iconic has said, the scaling on both sides is just pretty even. And plus the fact that the objective so far on the court of Big 4 as well, if Infuse doesn't respond to this very soon, then this is just going to be Big 4 just going to infinity and beyond.
Big 4 actually just trying to open up the map. But we have a fight right here. Just a little love tap on both sides of Big 4.
Oh, enchanted crystal arrow though. ZXC may potentially be going down though. With the Slither of Health, the Ignite still there, but that is going to be a killing spree for Satoshi Hechizo in a little bit of trouble as Big 4 continues to give chase, but will be escaping from that, and that is going to be a red glove being taken as well. And Gertrude walking away, but then again, the pillar will be saving him.
But he's moving towards the top tier 1. He might get dove there if he continues to go to that top tier 1 turret.
Exactly, and oh, here we go, JRM trying to get the kill onto Gabay ng Diyos, but will he be able?
We actually see Hechizo right now roaming. So it could be a bait coming out from Hechizo. Hechizo will have flash in a few seconds, and he also has his exhaust. So this might be a kill for Infuse right now.
Patience game is being played, and that is going to be a kill for JRM, paying off. But then again, 7-2, and then again, top tower very low. Not taken, but still very low. So I'd still say that as far as who comes up on top, as far as who managed to get the most out of it, still I'd put my money on Big 4.
Exactly. Big 4 has a commanding lead right now in this game. 5,500 gold on top of the Infused squad. But they are taking out they are winning also on global objectives, getting the Rift Herald, getting that Ocean Drake. The next Drake is also an Ocean Drake. It is pretty good for Big 4 because they can... Oh, they actually use the teleport there just to secure the Rift Herald buff for the top laner. But then, as I was saying, with this kind of composition, they can keep poking you out with the Karma and the Ari.
Yes, indeed. But oh, Gertrude in quite the trouble right there. Will easily going down to the hands of Big 4 right there, as the kill does go to time-lapse right there. So far, the key carries in this game. Although with the exception of Gabay ng Diyos, still fairly decent scoring, but if you're going to look at the Ashe and the Ari, that's absolutely insane. 3-0 for Satoshi, and a 2-0 for Timelapse right there.
What was Gertrude doing there? He knew that they took Rift Herald, but he was pushing where he didn't even have a turret. Even if he had a turret there, he would have just been dived on by the Big 4 squad. So they were talking about this in the huddle earlier about how they punished the Shen for pushing out even though he had no turret. But
Yes.
Gertrude committing the mistake that he was talking about when Gabay ng Diyos did that mistake. So I don't know what's happening right now with Gertrude. He hasn't shown up this entire series. He had a decent second game, but that was mostly on the Hechizo doing really well.
Definitely, and here, okay, there we go. But that's actually a very good point. Just because this is somewhat reminiscent of Game 1, wherein Infuse just not taking advantage of the early game in general, the roam potential that they had from the Rek'Sai, from the Aurelion Soul, it just wasn't there. And as a result, Big 4 just kind of capitalized on what strengths they had when Infuse didn't. And that is going to be a mid-turret taken down from the side of Infuse right there. Objective control clearly in Big 4's court.
Exactly. So this game is really snowballing right now. Big 4 has a gigantic lead against the Infuse squad. But we might see some kind of fight right now because so much pressure. They have a 1-3-1 right now for Big 4, and Infuse have to react to this or else they will lose a lot of turrets.
Okay, there we go. We have quite the push happening here, and Infuse will be able to do something about it though. They're just kind of lingering, but no particular aggression just because of the lead that Big 4 has right now.
Satoshi
And
landing the charge.
Hechizo getting instantly taken down by I Shall Return right there. Satoshi continuing the chase. That is going to be a rampage for the Ari right there, and a kill once again. Killing spree for Timelapse. Will ZXC be going down as well? And that is going to be the kill. 4 members down of Infuse. Very worrying. Big 4 showing that they want in on the Garena Pro Gaming Series. Gertrude will be going down as well. And that is going to be the ace for Big 4.
Wow,
Whoa.
5-0 right now, and Big 4 has just used their commanding lead to take the game away from them. We should totally see a replay of that fight because that was one big gold swing for Big 4, and it was a 4v5 possibly because Gabay ng Diyos was just split pushing the top lane the entire time.
Exactly. And, you know, earlier you were just kind of in the sync that, kind of like earlier where in Infuse, even though they were kind of behind, they could make these small pickoffs to slowly get back in the game. But then again, they make these really crucial mistakes on a grand scale that ultimately affects their chances of getting back to this game. And then again, it's just a full snowball that's happening on the side of Big 4.
Exactly. So we will see a replay right now. So you can see Satoshi landing the charm, Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Hechizo. Then you have the Spirit Rush coming out from the Ari, but you have an aggressive flash in to the Absolute Zero from the Nunu onto the Infuse team. They actually clean up this fight 4v5 right there. Oh, actually it was 4v4, but Gertrude, where was he that fight?
Oh my goodness, this is quite worrying for this point for our defending Pro Gaming Series team right here. This is just going way off course for them, and as a result, you know, again, gold lead in Big 4's favor. Objective control clearly them. 6 towers, 2 drakes, and just the snowball that everybody has gone into in this point. And you know, we were kind of expecting Gabay ng Diyos to purely off the comfort of Fiora skyrocket, but then again, it's just Satoshi and Timelapse with these common picks that we have, the Ari and the Ashe snowballing, and they didn't even need Gabay ng Diyos to release his full potential on the Fiora. But then again, Gabay ng Diyos kind of did his job in the sense that he had the Rift Herald and just kind of split push and was completely ignored by Infuse. And as a result, the objective control, the towers being taken, just toppling one by one on the side of Infuse.
I kind of feel like Big 4 baited out the Aurelion Soul pick of Infuse, because they are actually doing pretty well with this Aurelion Soul. They kept him contained this entire game. He wasn't able to roam, he wasn't able to do anything with the power of Aurelion Soul. Aurelion Soul still is a powerful champion, but I guess they picked the Nunu to actually counter the Aurelion Soul, slowing him down, not allowing him to do anything with those stars. And if this is one fight differential right now with Big 4, if they win the next fight, they could take this game.
And look at how to burst, not just a slither of damage from the calling of Delusion right there. And that's going to be a turret being taken down by Big 4. Oh my goodness, this might be the defining fight right here. A kill easily going down to Shall Return right there, but they are not done just yet. Trying to get the kill onto Hechizo and JRM. Hechizo escaping with a slither of help, but JRM in a lot of trouble. Will be going down. Rampage for the Ashe right there, and double kill for I Shall Return. And oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, this could be the game. This could be Big 4 coming in onto the Garena Pro Gaming Series. All members of Infuse down, and oh goodness, again, we have Adobe Republic, we have Genski Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, your new team in the Garena Pro Gaming Series, Big 4, welcome to the PGS.
2 straight aces coming out from Big 4. They just destroyed Infuse right there. Infuse having such a hard time establishing vision control. They lost. The first ace was actually because they didn't know where Satoshi was, and suddenly Hechizo got charmed by Satoshi out of vision, out of the fog of war. And then second fight, it was just a straight up massacre. They just used the Karma Shield. They hit the Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Hechizo to start the fight, and they just won it straight up because of the massive gold lead. You can see the difference. Even the support and the jungler of Big 4 is richer than the entire team than any member coming out from the Infuse side. Even the support coming out from Big 4 can rival the damage coming out from the carries of Infuse. So you can see how this game wasn't even a close game. It was somewhat of a landslide in favor of Big 4.
And oh my goodness, unfortunately, along with La Liga Pilipinas, that ends the Garena Pro Gaming Series journey for Infuse Esports right there. Of course, you know, being in that position yesterday, I completely feel for them, and I have nothing but so much respect for the Infuse roster. They played their hearts out. They've actually had a pretty good split, performed absolutely beautiful in comparison to the other splits that they've had. And salutes to Infuse Esports. You've had an incredible run. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have to, on the positive note, we have to congratulate.
We have to congratulate the mystery team that came out of nowhere.
Kind of like the LLP going into the previous LLP, wherein this mysterious people going in and just making a huge wave.
And getting their slot into the PGS. Somewhat reminiscent of what happened of the old LLP with Jose Rizal and the Luna.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All the hero names right there. So, again, Big 4, congratulations for making it into Garena Pro Gaming Series. But ladies and gents, just stay in your seats, right? Well, when we return, actually, we'll be back for the best of 3 between TIP Vindicators Esports Club and Cerberus Esports to determine who will be the 8th and final team to enter and join the 7 teams currently secured for the Garena Pro Gaming Series. Again, this is Coach Arctic at your service, and with me is the amazing Iconic. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back. The response from How to Burst, but then again, Absolute Zero being popped here. How to Burst a little bit low on health. Will Gertrude be able to get the kill though? Gabay ng Diyos dealing tons of damage. That is the ult being popped out. Grand Challenge. And oh my goodness, How to Burst will be indeed going down to Gertrude rather. But Gabay ng Diyos will be able to get the kill onto GXP. That is the 1-for-1 so far. Will be able to get the kill onto Gabay ng Diyos. But here we have Satoshi able to respond. Hechizo a little bit low on mana. Gertrude maybe going down, and that is going to be a kill onto Satoshi.
Wow, Hechizo just face check that and cost him the life.
So this is kind of lingering, but no particular aggressive don't see because of the lead that they have. And Hechizo getting instantly taken down by I Shall Return right there. Satoshi continuing the chase. That is going to be a rampage for the Ari right there, and a kill once again. Killing spree for Timelapse. Will ZXC be going down as well? And that is going to be the kill. 4 members down of Infuse. Very worried. Will be going down as well. That is going to be the ace for Big 4.
Wow,
Whoa.
5 for 0 right now. Big 4 has just used their commanding lead to take the game away from them. We should totally see a replay of that fight because that was one big goal.
That's going to be a turret being taken down by Big 4. Oh my goodness, this might be the defining fight right here. A kill easily going down to shall return right there, but they are not done just yet. Trying to get the kill onto Hedgezo and JRM. Hedgezo escaping with his little help, but JRM in a lot of trouble. Will be going down. Rampage for the Ash right there, and double kill for I shall return. And oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, this could be the game. This could be Big 4 coming in onto the Garena Pro Gaming Series. All members of Infuse down, and oh goodness, again, we have Adobe Republic, we have Jenks T Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, your new team in the Garena Pro Gaming Series, Big 4, welcome to the PGS.
2 straight aces.